Allow me now to invite the Managing Director, Umeme Limited, Mr. Selestino Babungi, to give his remarks. Thank you so much.
The Honorable Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Minister of State for Energy, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be here today to witness what has been done with the big switch. I recall 2005, we were given a very small stainless switch. Now we are giving back a massive, big switch. And this switch has been built over time with the support of all stakeholders. But Honorable Minister, before I go far, to recognize my board chairman, who has been unrelentlessly supporting me, together with the board, to ensure that we deliver this mandate. Mr. Patrick Tature is here with us. And in no particular order, my management team, I know you have been introduced as a team, but it's very important that you stand out to your individuals, because in the shadows of where you are, a lot of work is being done. I start with my CFO, he's called Andrew, CPA, CCA, Andrew Oye. I have the Chief Corporate and Regulatory Officer, a Blessing in Shao, and SEC also. We have the CTO, who is now a Ugandan, and he came to Uganda from Zimbabwe in 2007, Mr. Simbiso Chimbima, big contributor to the big switch. We have Head of Capital Projects, Isaac Aserwada, registered engineer. We have our Head of Internal Audit, who is also the President of all internal auditors in Africa, and the CPO of the year last year, CPA Dorine Batebe. We have our Head of HR, Dr. Fred Muita. We had our Head of Communications, the most famous face, Kauju Peter. We have our Chief Commercial Officer, Agnes Nalwanga. We have our Chief Information Officer, Nelson Bagenda, and the Head of Supply Chain, Patrice Namsano. That's the team that I deliver with, Honorable Minister, this mandate, and with the support of all staff. You recall, Honorable Minister, when you look at the archives, I tried to go back and read what made these changes that we are experiencing here. The first reforms. The government was very clear. There was a challenge in the country. Challenge in terms of efficiencies, challenge in terms of fuel connectivity of people to electricity, challenge in terms of technical limited capacity to run the whole supply industry, electricity supply industry, limited investments in generation, transmission, and distribution, and the whole sector was deemed to be not financially or commercially viable. That led to the first reforms, which were implemented 20 years ago. And I'm privileged, Honourable Minister, to have somewhere in my earlier years, as at Ernst & Young, participated in those reforms. I recall the reforms at UEB, I was there. I was also part of the team that worked tirelessly to set up Umeme, verify, reconcile balances and so on at EY. And formally I joined Umeme in 2006. And I'm glad that I've been at the helm over that period, became the CFO in 2010, became the CEO. Exactly today I make 10 years as the CEO of the sector. I can say it has been real pressure, 10 years of constant daily pressure, no Sunday, no holiday, all to serve our customers and improve the electricity distribution system. How does the big switch now look like as we hand over to Paul and team? From where we started, of course, the government required investments. Cumulatively, over $850 million was put in. The network, Paul, has more than doubled. You handed over 5,000 transformer zones. We are giving you back 17,000 transformer zones, 44,000 kilometers of lines. You gave me 250,000 customers. I'm handing you 9 times that, 2.2 million customers. Our safety record has been really strong, and I encourage you to keep it, to protect the lives of staff, the public, and other contractors that work on the line. Energy loss reduction was a big issue. We may take it late, but this eats into the financial viability of the sector. At the start, we had 38% energy losses. We are handing over at 16%, and hope you will be improved on that loss number. We had an issue of distribution efficiency, Honourable Minister, meaning that out of 100 units we used to get from transmission, only 50% will be converted into cash at the start of this concession. As we hand over, we are handing over 84% of units we get from transmission are actually converted into cash. That has led to the growth. We are handing over a business. When we received it then, keeping factors constant, it was generating around 160 billion with a lot of subsidies from government here, there. There was a vote. As we hand over, we are handing over with a turn of 2.5 trillion. Actually, this year, considering what we have been working with from the first quarter, it is a $700 million revenue business, growing at an average of 10%. That's what we are handing over. And we believe that should be protected because that goes on to attract investments upstream, downstream, and in generation. We are handing over a growing sector. Growth is very important. We've seen some sectors that grow in the negative. We are selling 5 times volume power compared to the previous period when we started. But more important, Honourable Minister, there's this fallacy I've seen around where they say, oh, the network is falling apart. No, the network is not falling apart. What is happening, if you compare between 2020 and this year, the network is carrying 70% more power than 5 years ago around the COVID time. Now, we are pouring all that power into the system, which requires investment. Actually, framing the question to the President, Honourable Minister, the network requires to be invested in and expanded to carry the load that is being driven by economic development, being driven by the number of connections that we are making through various government programs. So the challenge we are experiencing now is not that the network is not performing. We are loading the network with more volume power without opening the arteries to carry that power. That is the challenge you are facing now. Also, this sector previously used to be a net consumer from the government. Subsidy. I'm glad to note, Honourable Minister, as we hand over, last year Umeme was number 15 in the top taxpayers, which is good. We've come from nowhere. We are fighting for the top 10 position. And we're also recognized by the URA as the most tax compliant payer in 2024, which is a good thing that we are now turning into a net contributor to the government coffers. Not only that, Honourable Minister, we comply with the regulations and so on. Last year, our good regulator in our electricity supply industry, we were ranked the best, most compliant licensee at 90%. I think that's a D1 in terms of compliance. That compliance, again, is reflected in the way we serve customers, the way we improve efficiencies. As we celebrate these 20 years, I think we have built a foundation. It's not perfect, where the next operator will build on and take the sector to greater heights. Allow me, Honourable Minister, to extend my sincere thanks and sense of gratitude, first of all, to the President for unwavering support and visionary leadership, especially in the electricity supply industry. Every time I've had the President, you know there is you mentioned something about electricity, about his big 4 to drive and turn around the economy. Others including transportation, financial services, and cheap labor. And because of its visionary leadership, I recall, Honourable Minister, vividly when he was commissioning BEL after the 2006-2011 crisis, where he said, never again shall we go back into load shedding. Where even people are doubting, shall Uganda consume Karuma? Have you connected to Sudan? Have you connected to Congo? Shall we consume Isimba? Honourable Minister, I can say those big moves that were made in 2013 to sign off those developments, which now we are benefiting from, have carried us this far. Which leads me, Honourable Minister, to my next worry. My biggest worry is the rate at which power is being demanded. If we don't do anything in the next 3 years, we'll run out of power. I know there are other interventions, East African power pool, we can draw from Ethiopia, we can draw from everywhere. But based on what I see, we need to move fast if we are to be energy secure from a generation front. Of course, the government, general government, the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, and more importantly, you, Honourable Minister, you have been really supportive. Every time you call, every time I call, things actually move. The local governments have given us unwavering support. You can't deliver electricity without plugging into the LOC system, plugging into the RDC system, the local communities, the security systems at the districts. They have supported us to fight off vandalism, protect assets, but also to fight energy losses. So we appreciate the support. The security services, the police, UPDF, CMI, all those have been very supportive because you can't protect this massive infrastructure across the country without the country support system from the security agencies. Of course, the Umeme board, me personally, they have been very, very supportive to me. I appreciate all the staff and management. You have really done a phenomenal job in terms of driving this sector. And our motto was, we shall work, soldier on until 31st March 2025 at 11:59. That's the motto. And as we speak, staff are working actually, looking forward to 11:59. Then some of them will change overalls, some of them will walk home with pride of what they have been able to achieve in this sector. We thank our financing partners, of course the World Bank that supported us at the start, the MIGA, IDA, the main World Bank itself, they set up the framework for this concession to work. The IFC of the World Bank that gave us support through financing, FMO from Netherlands, Standard Chartered Bank, Stanbic, DFCU, and other supervised financial institutions in Uganda. Your support cannot be taken lightly. You have created impact because those finances that you gave us, we transformed them into assets, which assets have served the country, Uganda, to grow the sector to where it is now. Of course, sister sector agencies, GCL, DCL, TCL, our regulator, the ministry, IPPs, all of you really have made this sector shine to where it is. The capital markets, as a listed entity, we raise capital through the capital markets, has enabled us also to enhance our transparency, enhance our public accountability. Previously, they would think, oh, Umeme is owned by Babungi. Babungi is from South Africa. No, I'm a Ugandan. I'm born here. And the company is owned by several people, 40% of whom are Ugandans, and then we have other international investors. Our suppliers, of course, very, very critical, the media and other the shareholders and other stakeholders. This ecosystem has delivered us this far, and we thank you for that. And Umeme will continue as a going concern. It's not closing today. We will engage with our business partners to close out any reconciling items that are actually remaining. So today we hand over the operational management of this massive system in good faith as we continue to engage with the government to resolve any remaining contractual obligations between ourselves and the government. We appeal for patience from stakeholders as we go through this transition process. Thank you once again and wish UEDCL the best as they take over the distribution and supply business effective midnight tonight. We live with a sense of gratitude and satisfaction on what we have been able to achieve. And Uganda is looked at, though the energy system is still in infancy, Uganda is looked at as a model of what other countries can do. We have received some, I'll give an example, requests from some country I will not mention for confidential reasons. Their losses are at 49% and they are collecting 54% of what they bill. So their efficiency is at 25%. And they are crying out, they need help. They've come here to study us and say, how can we make it like Uganda has done? So as Uganda, we need to be proud that yes, the infant system we have now is built on solid foundations. All we need is to turbocharge and grow it to greater height. We remain, Honourable Minister, at your disposal. Should you require any form of support within our means, and the management team has assured me they are available, we will share, we will show our colleagues, as we have been doing, the ropes, the critical areas that require attention to ensure that customers are not impacted in any way because of this transition. I call this, it was a known We started, it was a 20-year project, on 1st March 2005. The end date was 31st March 2025. Therefore, all speculation and so on should not be called for, because this was a known event. All we are doing is we are fulfilling those contractual obligations as enshrined in our contracts. Allow me, Honourable Minister, to invite now my chairman, Mr. Patrick, to say a few words from the board. And once again, I thank you and thank all the colleagues for the support you have provided to me over the last 10 years as CEO. Tonight I go home and I will sleep comfortably. The phone will get silent. You know? And whoever calls, I'll be diverting the calls to Paul. So Paul, your phone should be charged all the time. But I remain available, Honourable Minister. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Patrick.
Madam Minister, distinguished guests in your respective capacities, spare me the protocol, please. We're lucky today. We're having beautiful weather, beautiful day. It's calm. I was worried it was a storm coming, but it's calm. Reminded me the other day I was going to a function, and lately it's been extremely hot. So we're in traffic, and this traffic is something else that's got to be addressed. And these hawkers are walking around selling all kinds of things. And my wife sees these people selling a fan, this rotating fan. So please, we stop the hawker. Please help us. We'd like that fan. The fan is 40,000 shillings. I'm surprised. 40,000 for this fan with a battery? But the ladies nowadays with their makeup, they need to keep cool. These temperatures were something else. I said, give me something cheaper, please. He says, I have this one, which you open like this, and you just have to fan like this. Ah, much better. Give me that one. How much is that? 10,000. For that, the other one is 40, this is 10. I was surprised. But these guys are very smart. He says, it's okay. Let me give you a cheaper one if you don't want to afford that. He had another one he pulled out. It looked like the other one, but it was already open. 5,000. Excellent. Give me this one of 5,000. I took the 5,000 one, gave it to my wife, and he walked down the road. 2 minutes later, my wife used it, and it collapsed. And I started hooting for the hawker, come back, you've cheated us. The man comes back. I said, look at this thing you've sold me, it has already collapsed. He says, no, you don't know how to use it. That one of 5,000, you don't fan like this. You use your head, you move your head. So, the message today is you get what you pay for. Umeme, some people have been saying we're so expensive, we're all kinds of things, you're cheating us, but it has been a journey we have come on this country. I've been on this board for 15 years, over 15 years, and at the helm of the board. At the beginning, I was sitting on a board, but my management team were all Muzungus, expatriates. I am proud that we had a deliberate policy to bring Ugandans on board, and when I look at them today, I'm so proud of this team that has delivered Umeme in the last 15 years. It shows we can do it. Another big challenge I had was corruption. When I joined the board, we were number one in corruption, above the police, above everything. People forget easily. But it was Umeme, then police, then other institutions. We had a policy of zero tolerance for corruption. I made it my personal business to get involved. I invited groups of Umeme staff in chunks to meet me at Protea Hotel. I give them a lecture and talk to them. And I told them quite sternly, some of you will not be here in the next 6 months or 1 year because I'm not going to tolerate corruption. I don't care about the process and procedure and your unions. We will fire you on the spot. You go to your unions and sue us. I don't care. And that's the position I took from a private sector perspective. And all this protection they thought they had to go away. Slowly, we disappeared off the radar of corruption. You had to make Umeme a personal business. And wherever I went, I got to know the staff. I would stop when they are working and greet some of them. Eventually, they got to recognize me, most of them. Even when they are driving recklessly, I chase them, I hood them. When they realize it's me, they change their behavior. We had a culture of changing mindset. It's taken time, but we have done it because we had that period of time, 20 years. So we're handing over to you. 80% of our staff have been absorbed. So we're handing over to you a well-looked after, manicured, mindset-changed staff. I hope they deliver, and I'm sure they will. So mine was really to move a vote of thanks. I must begin by thanking His Excellency the President. Because if this man did not give me an audience, especially at the beginning, we would not have delivered where we are today. He's one man you could ring, make a call, I want to speak to His Excellency. You book the call, you wait. The next day he would call you. Now that was not very common. At many a time he'd call me, and I am in London, or I've traveled, and it is 5 a.m. because that man wakes up very early and starts calling very early in the morning. When you pick up the phone, you are in London, or 2 hours, 3 hours behind, you get up and you stand waiting, hold on for him. You hold on and hold on. They say, sorry, we'll call you back. You don't go back to bed. You have to stay waiting. That's the way we began this country. Because he was managing things directly. And if there was a problem, he'd call you. So I must give special thanks to him because it was something he paid particular attention to, electricity in this country. Thereafter, I've seen several ministers come in that Ministry of Energy, and I thank all of them that I've worked with. They have all been very supportive. With no exception, the current minister has really been a champion. Anytime you call her, you WhatsApp her, she will respond every single time. I thank you, Madam Minister, for that support. That culture you have brought all your team, they all respond, and they are so responsive, Mr. Minister. The regulator, Ira, the lady has been a champion. No nonsense, very tough, but very fair. She knows exactly what she's doing. In the past, we had a lot of run-ins in with the regulator. But now we have had a smooth working relationship. We know what she stands for, and she always stood for fairness, and that was something we understood. I must thank the board with which I've worked. I've had a resilient board. And I always told my shareholders when I'd have meetings that I have to make sure that I am surrounded by people that are smarter than me. I did not want anybody on my board who was not as smart as me. They had to be smarter than me. Then they were useful to me. Otherwise, I didn't need them. The board, I thank you in a very special way. None of them are here today, but they did an excellent job. They've been very supportive, and they've done a very good job to deliver us where we are. The management team, as I've said, they've done an excellent job, especially Selestino, the CEO, because this is one man who has stood out. Before he became the CEO, he was doing his work, but people didn't recognize him. Now he's a celebrity everywhere he goes, and I'm proud of that, because he delivers. Wherever he goes, he's recognized. Madam Minister, please, it is good to recognize the people in your team, especially when you have a champion amongst them, because the culture goes through to the rest of the staff who work with him. He's done an excellent job, and many people doubted when we removed an Irishman who was the CEO before him. Said, how do you bring in somebody we don't even know? But this man knew the nuts and bolts of this business like the back of his hand. Until today, he has all the figures. Anytime I'd call him, he was always on alert. Thank you, Selestino, for doing an excellent job. My customers, I want to thank the customers, because to me they were personal. All the customers on Umeme's grid. I tried to relate to as many as I could. They did an excellent job to tolerate us, because we had a lot of challenges. People forget, and they think that we live in Japan or Korea or America, where when power goes in 1 minute, they are jumping up in excitement. What the heck, power has gone? They forget where we have come from. It's been a journey. Until our grid is built overhead. Most of the grid is overhead, not underground. In those countries, when it rains or doesn't rain or snow, their grid is underground. It doesn't make a difference. But here, every time there's a storm, Umeme is going to go. People are looking at us. So whenever power would go, even at times it would go when we are in State House. And I have to shudder. Umeme, everyone looks at you like it's your fault, power is gone. These are the conditions in which we live. And so long as our grid is built overline, the branches, the trees, with our beautiful weather and our beautiful soils, rain will come and the trees, the vegetation will flourish. We have people who cut lines throughout the country. We are recruiting people to keep maintaining the lines so that they are free of these trees and shrubs. People take it for granted. But I'm glad we have delivered a 20-year concession. We are proud of our accomplishment. We still have a bit of work to do. Some people feel that the negotiations have got to continue. Yes, they are going to continue. I need to assure my shareholders that buyout amount is not what they expected. But that's for another day. We shall talk about another day. We shall have an AGM. We have worked in good faith with the government of Uganda, and I'm sure we're going to conclude these discussions. We have received our payment. the initial payment that was undisputed, and for that we are very grateful. For anybody who doubted us, Friday we received over $120 million in our account. I thank you, Madam Minister, for that payment. We're going to address all the challenges remaining, and we are here to support the new team led by Paul Umeme-Uedcl, UEDCL, the new chairman. We are here, a phone call away, and we'll always be supportive. It's a contractual obligation anyway for the next 6 months. The people who wrote this concession 20 years ago, they were brilliant minds. Nobody could have envisioned what we shall be dealing with today. They tried as much as possible to capture all the eventualities. And even you today, as you take over, you cannot imagine what will happen in the next 20 years. Where would Uganda be? Maybe we shall be using EV cars at that time. I don't know. Maybe things will be completely different. But we had a very good plan. We put as much as we could in that concession. It has protected us. It has hurt us. But along the way, it has delivered us. So today, we hand over with a smile. Thank you very much, Madam Minister. It's been a pleasure really serving on this board. And I thank all of you who have been with us on this journey. God bless you all.
To grow our grid. So that support will continue to be extended to UEDCL. So all the ingredients to support UEDCL have a successful journey have largely been put in place. We are aware of the ongoing power outages, but even that, the MD has comforted you that as soon as they take over, they will hit the ground running to ensure they fill the gaps, the deficits that we are experiencing on the network. So as the ministry, we have required UEDCL to be bold in this season, to be strong but also courageous. And without a doubt, you will flourish because you have a support system behind you. You're not alone. We are in this together. So, Honorable Minister, as we prepare to enter the next session, I really want to thank you for the guidance you continue to give us. Like you know, we look for you at midnight, sometimes at 1 a.m., and you're available. The Honorable Kasai, thank you. Honorable Kasai mentors us. He mentors us to ensure that we continue doing our work and very well. With that, thank you for coming. And we look forward to a fruitful 20 years as we implement our new energy policy and our second power sector generation reforms. I thank you very much. So with that, before we can invite the Honorable Minister, allow me, ladies and gentlemen, invite our dear Honorable Minister for State for Energy, the Honorable Sidronius Okasai Opolot. Thank you very much.
Honorable Minister, the various board chairs, especially the one of Umeme, honorable members of Parliament, and all of you, good afternoon. Oh, it is good morning still. It is because I woke up very early. I thought I've been up for a long day already. I'm so delighted standing here today. It has been a lot of pain getting through the questions both in the Cabinet and Parliament, asking, will you manage to get this transition through? I'm actually delighted we have reached a stage where I can say we have succeeded, Honorable Minister. While my friend Bitature was talking about electricity, in various fora, they actually say, Minister of Energy, do you really have energy? Do you have power? And when that question is asked, confidently we said, yes, we have power. So I must thank you for your passion for the energy sector. I honestly would wish to thank you for insistence on changing the character of Umeme. I listened to you how you went through it, and I think we went to the same school. I actually believed in the transformation that you achieved. So well done. It was a long journey, but you delivered it. I wish to thank the Cabinet for the so many hard questions which were positive in nature. The questions were in good faith, making sure we are on top of the game. Honorable Minister, it's nice working with you. I wish to thank my colleagues, the members of Parliament. Without those hard questions, maybe we would have faltered. We took those questions in good faith. And today, when we are standing here, we are celebrating the success of everyone who has been working with us through this hard path to deliver the transition and the transfer of the assets, from retransfer of the assets from Umeme now to UEDCL. And to my team in Ministry of Energy, I believe in you. I will not fear, actually, when I'm going to Parliament or Cabinet, because I have, a very strong team behind me. P.S. Thank you for your leadership in the ministry, and to all my staff who have delivered this, and Umeme, Chief Executive and the board chair. Don't let us and say you are done. This morning when I was traveling from Soroti, I kept my eyes open. And I was looking out, is there any darkness? Because today is the end of the concession. I'm glad to actually announce I never saw any darkness wherever there was light. So, well done, Umeme, and well done, UEDCL. And I look forward to continued delivery across the value chain of the electricity. Generation who have got to push hard. I heard him say, if we don't work hard, Selestino, you said it, in the next 3 years we shall have a shortage. We take that seriously. The Chief Executive of UEDCL, who have got, and your board chair, who have got a task to stabilize and deliver power in adequate quantities to wherever there is a call for electricity. And UEDCL, I will not leave Umeme out. We shall continue delivering on the distribution segment of that value chain. It is not my day to speak. I must stop here and thank all of you for listening to me. And with this, I wish to invite the Honorable Minister to come and deliver her speech and then see the transfer of the assets.
Thank you very much, my colleague Minister. The Permanent Secretary is good at protocol, my Permanent Secretary. And I want to stand on the protocol well elaborated and say, how do you do? How do you do? How are you? Hello. I am sure that each one of you knows very well what is running through her or him. If you ask me how I'm doing, I think it can take a whole day, but I'm just feeling my heart is melting with excitement and joy and vigor And so I am happy to be here today. And when you address me as your chief guest, I get lost because I feel I'm part and part of you. I should be addressing a chief guest who is not myself, because we've been running together. And so this is our day, all of us. But thank you for inviting me as a chief guest. But I am part and parcel of everything. And all the speeches that have been made, I am part and parcel of everything. And therefore, I'm just going to summarize. First of all, Mr. Selestino, Paul, my peers, CEO era, have told us the story, how it started. And so I'll not take you back to 2005 and what happened, which was in my speech, because you've given us the background. But I just want to emphasize the point that Tino, I learned that sometimes you are called as Tino. What he said that what we are going through was a known known. I liked that, because the reaction from the people was as if it is unknown known. Okay? The number of times I have been called to Parliament to give reports, to Cabinet, to give reports. And even towards the end, I think last week, I was invited to appear before Parliament, 2 parliamentary committees at the same time, handling the same thing. Committee of Natural Resources, I was invited by the chairperson of the committee to appear at 10. The Committee of National Economy invited the same minister to appear before it, same day, same time at 10. So what I did was to take myself, and I kept time. I thought that Natural Resources, since we've been together more often, they will understand. I will just start the committee and then leave my technical team and then cross over to national economy. Wapi. I reach there and they get stuck on me. They said, no, you have to complete. But I want to thank the chair and the members of Natural Environment and Natural Resources Committee. The chair informed his friend, his colleague, the chairperson of national economy, that we are not letting the minister go, you can join us. So the chairperson of national economy is not here, but I want to thank him so much. He came and participated, so I ended up being in one place, handling both committees at the same time. The issue was Umeme concession. How prepared are you? So this known thing appeared to be unknown at some time. The kind of issues that were being raised, even on numbers, you can imagine. How come ERA told us a different figure? You are now talking about different figure. You are now borrowing, different. And I'm like, all these are estimates. Because the concession is still running. And the Auditor General has to do his work. He had to give a provisional figure, which we based on to ask finance to put a loan request of $190 million provisionally as the Auditor General completes. But some people were looking for some loophole to catch us. We are going to catch them, to get backward. We are going to catch them. The difference in the figures, we are going to catch them. So And some people could not tell the difference between borrowing money and cashing. And so you had to explain that borrowing is a process. You can't wait till the Auditor General has completed and then you borrow. Then you go to cabinet and then parliament. I mean, you have to be prepared. Then the question of where have you been? Didn't you know? Why didn't you do this thing early enough? And I'm like, supposing we did it 6 months ago, what will happen the remaining period when Umeme is still handling and is still investing? And even the concession itself instructs us what to do when. But I don't know what was wrong with people. The anxiety has been too much. And I thank God, the living God we serve, whose nature is mercy. He has been merciful today because we stood firm. I surrounded myself with gadgets to safeguard me from being pushed into panic mode. You call me and I listen to you and I'm like, okay, now take this way. Now do this way. Under Secretary, how are you feeling? Because it has been like run, and I knew and I trusted that the president took a decision well calculated when he guided and instructed me not to renew the concession and therefore prepare. And he kept on telling cabinet, we shall get the money. Because the issue was, will you get the buyout? Because if you don't, then this transition will not take place. And I could look at the president's face every time in the cabinet and elsewhere, insisting that we shall get the money. So I based on that trust to maintain my smile and my confidence, to move with everybody, basing on the trust I have in my president and what I have learned from him. My president has never been panicky. He wouldn't have won the liberation war. He handled every category of people. Abasamize, Abasabi, you know. He handled every category of people, and he was able to guide somebody who told him that now that you have done this, even if you march to Kampala, you will take over. Kati owamba Kampala kati, Oli ready said, okay, tell the spirits to leave this part now for us. Tell the spirits to leave that part for us. I would like to tell Ugandans to leave this last leg to us because we are going to deliver. We are going to deliver. We got prepared. So it has been a lesson. I know that you have learned a lot to be consistent and follow the proper procedure. Somebody is telling you to pay. No. The Auditor General finally delivered the figure. Okay? And the other issue now was that now Umeme has a different figure. The Auditor General has given us a different figure. How can that be a problem? When we know that we have a period of harmonization. From 1st of April, the Auditor General and everybody concerned will be sitting with Umeme to harmonize. How can that be a problem? In the Auditor General's report, it was very clear that that wasn't the conclusive one because there is work which Umeme is still doing. They mentioned incompleted work. In other words, the Auditor General was telling you, for this, you can clear. $118 million US, go ahead and clear. And we did that. We cleared. There is work worth 9.78 or 87 million US dollars. That work is recognized as being work in progress. There could be another portion which will need harmonization. So I can assure you, Umeme Board and Executive, Mr. Patrick Vitatura and your team, that we are still together. We have to conclude naturally because this is not a termination. People should understand the difference between a termination and a natural retirement of an agreement. So I'm so happy. I cannot explain how I'm feeling, especially in this month. I can call it a month that has delivered triplets. I said this in State House, triplets from me and my team, because we handle much more than electricity in my ministry. This very month, one of the 3 triplets came out when East African crude oil pipeline reached the financial close. That is not a mean achievement. We've been moving up and down. Then on Saturday, 28th, as we were preparing for this triplet of ours today, another one also came out. When I signed the implementation agreement for the refinery. Okay? Today, we are about to see the triplets coming out when we are receiving the assets and the network from Umeme. And the deliveries have been natural and normal. No cuts. Natural and normal. Bleeding, minimum bleeding, expected bleeding, but it's okay. No seizure, normal, natural, and the mother is going to be live and kicking. Okay? Little blood here and there, expected. And I've been calling it consequential inconveniences. You cannot expect us to run as if there was nothing to transfer or even nothing regarding a structure or even nothing regarding recruitment. No. When you recruit people whose legs are still in Umeme and you are recruiting them, do you expect them to run normally, absolutely, 100%? You are inviting them, they are making applications, they are the very people Selestino is calling because the minister has called, there is an emergency here, but the person is organizing for an interview. This kind of little bleeding is expected. And I want to call upon Ugandans really to bear with us. But the babies are alive and kicking. They are alive and kicking. So the lessons that we learn are in the Bible, in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, that talks about seasons. There was a season when Umeme was majorly needed, and we call Umeme our savior. Because that season required a midwife to deliver us. And Umeme came up. And they've been nurturing the baby, nurturing the baby, nurturing the baby. So the other seasons are also coming. When your baby tells you, I am above 18, I feel I can choose to go and find a family of my own. What do you do as a parent? You just support. So Umeme, I'm expecting you to support us. Selestino, don't switch off, please. Don't switch off. We are still together because much as you are Babungi, Selestino, you are Ugandan. Some people thought that you are not. And because I have seen it from the speech of your able chair of board, and even you yourself, and the spirit within which you've been working, this is your baby whom you wish to deliver more triplets, okay? This is your baby, so I have no doubt that you'll be quick to give guidance. So I have taken note of the need to generate more power. I think in today's papers we have a request for proposal from our accountant for people to express their interest for consultancy regarding feasibility study for one of the planned hydropower plant, a 400 megawatt hydropower plant, Kiba. And we have to make sure that we fast track. This we have told the president many times. And there are indicators that he has picked it, and you will be seeing us beginning on new, bigger power generation plants that we shall be working on. We know that. To you, Paul Umeme-Uedcl, this season is a season which comes periodically, every after 5 years. This is a political season. Things are not going to be the same. You ask Selestino, what happens during this season? My dear, things are not going to be the same. So those ties and suits you are wearing, things are not going to be the same. The members of parliament are here. And the candidates are not small. From the presidential level to LC1. An LC1 chairperson will call you. But in that very village, probably is where the presidential candidate will hold a rally. Okay? So that chairman, LC1, will have an opportunity to come on the microphone. Muzei, these people, they don't know what they are doing. Can you imagine? We've been in darkness for all this time. Paulo. At that time, Umeme will not be there. Umeme's name has been sleek and easy to mention in good and bad times. You say, Umeme. Now, UEDCL, which some people call UDCL, others call it UTCL, others call it what? We will not bother with that company. We will say, Paulo Umeme-Uedcl. This Umeme-Uedcl man, because UEDCL is long for people. So you Ugandans who are listening to me, whenever you've been hearing Umeme, put Paulo Umeme-Uedcl. Umeme-Uedcl. Is this man Umeme-Uedcl really? Umeme-Uedcl. So, this is what is coming. The good thing is that it is coming and finding us prepared. You are lucky. You even mentioned how much money you have. $74 million at your disposal. Being a Paulo Umeme-Uedcl at this stage, when you are taking over, you can pull some sympathy, but that sympathy will not be forever. Because government has done everything it takes to support you financially. And you have recruited people who have experience. Your network is full of people who have experience. And what you have to do now, working with us of course, is to make sure that we put a strong communication network. I met Mr. Kauju in Igaba when blackouts were becoming too much. And I was informed that, Madam, you see, Gaba substation, which serves Munyonyo, Kansanga, Chirudu, you know, all those people is being worked on. Said, okay, we are replacing a transformer, which is a good thing. I had to go to Gaba with the Tino, and Kauju was there, and I found a lady with the machine trying to fix. I was excited, but my question to Mr. Kawuju was, did you communicate? He said they had communicated. And I demanded for effective communication to save us. So the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, working with the agencies, we must communicate effectively. This is what I'm demanding from you. You will sit and tell me how. Okay? How can people complain of losing their items in the fridge? Yet Umeme tells me that they communicated and alerted people. Somebody from Kansanga says, oh, we're going to be at Daku, byonna bifudde. You know, we are in Ramadan, but now I am going to travel. I had stocked my fridge, all the sausages are gone. And you tell me that you communicated effectively. There is a gap in communication. We have to communicate. We've been trying, I and my brother, Minister of State, to engage members of Parliament, and whenever we engaged them, they understood. And I want to thank you so much. Thank you, our foot soldiers in Parliament. I must use this opportunity to brag a bit that I think I'm the most supported minister. The most supported minister by Parliament. The most supported minister by the technical people. The most supported minister by the President, who even sometimes answers questions on my behalf. You are preparing to answer. He says, for Umeme we've done this, for energy we've done this. And I've been given the best performers. Why shouldn't I perform? The members on my committee in Parliament, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker, they ask whether I'm comfortable, and then we move. When I say I'm not comfortable, we sit in a meeting. An amazing support from you people. When you hear that Uganda has the best regulator on the continent, why wouldn't we see a smooth transition with this regulator who has been regulating the system being in Uganda? If your permanent secretary is announced as the best permanent secretary, how can you be the worst minister? Okay? Everybody. And I must be thankful to you for taking me as your student. And you feel free to really be my tutors. And you've been making the tutorials. The ministers of state. The Minister of State for Mineral Development takes me as her mother. Who can dare annoy her mother? Who? Who can dare annoy? Even the Bible talks about it. Even the Quran. When you are loving and you are portioning, you have to add more to the mother. That's what the Quran says. So I am standing here to really communicate to you my feelings and my support. The rest will be okay. I've been communicating in the most simple way for everybody to understand. And this is what the President requires. If you are installing a transformer, you have to tell people that there is no diversion where a customer will continue using power as we install this transformer. That diversion, we find it on the roads. Road diverted. You take the diversion, you still reach where you are going. But with electricity, I have to switch you off. So dear colleagues, members of Parliament, this intermittent power of recent, which has increased, it is because Umeme's activities of recent also increased to be able to complete the incomplete work. So this line is switched off because there is some work going on. Another line somewhere, and another line somewhere. This is the period, the season now to fix things so that Umeme lives with a clean, sheet. So it is what we call that inconvenience, which is consequential from what is taking place. If we can communicate to public, they will be able to understand. And so the frustrations will be contained. I've been communicating that obviously Umeme's service has been expensive. The chairperson of the board has agreed. But at that season, which was comprised of the unknown, any business person will make sure that they de-risk their business. So they had to de-risk their business, and so the concession had provisions that were de-risking their business. And so we are moving away from that because we are now sure government is going to put in money. Uedcl has been allowed to borrow. They are the ones who have actually borrowed the $50 million US. It's borrowed by Uedcl, not the ministry. It is Uedcl who has borrowed this money. And once we the shareholders allow Uedcl to borrow, we are de-risking because he has to make sure that the rotten poles are replaced, that the transformers which are no longer serving the huge load are replaced. Everything else is done. And now the regulator is careful in making sure that in the tariff we have some portion to sustain the system. This is a better situation, which was not there when Umeme was taking over. So shareholders in Umeme had to sweat and get money and pump in money into the service delivery. So with you, government, because you are holding that company on behalf of government, where your minister is the majority shareholder, you are lucky that your shareholders sit in the cabinet. Women's shareholders were not sitting in the cabinet. No. Your shareholders are members of parliament. They interface with the parliament, whose duty is to appropriate enough funds for this sector. So you're lucky. So we will be able to handle that. And I've been communicating, therefore, that we expect even power to be more affordable. And today, before we receive the assets, the chairperson, the regulator, is going to tell us this good announcement where tariffs have been reduced. From today or from 31st midnight? From 31st of midnight going forward, what the regulator is going to announce today will work. And that has seen us a saving of 250 billion shillings as government. That clapping is not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. Because this is what we want. I've talked about power reliability. When I tell you that Uedcl is going to borrow, for me that means power is going to be more reliable. You'll be able to have a rapid response unit. Your stores must be full. Your people must be full of energy to run around. The challenge of vandalism. The challenge of vandalism. Pastor Sempa, have you been praying? Vandalism. Okay? Vandalism. Can you pray that Jesus visits these people like he visited Zacchaeus, who was up in the tree? This was the sermon yesterday as I was in Ikako representing the president. The sermon was very good. Zacchaeus was in the tree, and when Jesus visited him and told him, come down immediately, when he came down, he just said, my Lord, every person that I have injured, I will pay 4 times, and I'm going to return this, and I will take a portion of all my things, take back. People who are vandalizing are on that tree. They must come down. They must come down and leave that habit of stealing, cutting down poles. That is something where I have just received another directive from the President to work with the UPDF and the rest to make sure that we curb this. But I gave guidance to UETCL when we had the annual general meeting. Please take this seriously. So today we are going to announce the savings, but these savings can again be swept into making good of what the vandals have done. You know, replacing poles and all that. So you move 5 steps forward and 2 steps backward. When will you reach the land of 100% access to power, clean power, and 100% power reliability, and 100% affordable power, when you are, you know, entertaining people who are stealing our poles. So I want to end by sincerely appreciating Umeme. I've been appreciating you. Sometimes I've been acting as your spokesperson because I understood the background. Incidentally, I've been around for some time in Parliament and Cabinet, and I have witnessed many policies being enacted and formulated by Cabinet. So I know the background, and my thanks to you has been sincere because I know. Patrick, I've been calling you this last leg, which almost put my people, you know, you've been waiting for Auditor General to get the money. The money has come. Where are you paying the money? This known thing had those challenges. Because it was a known thing, we were able to go through the challenges. Money went to the right account, right people, and I think they acknowledge receipt, and that's why we are here comfortably seated, waiting to receive the assets and the network from Umeme. So the chair of the board will be coming. I can't thank Honorable Okasai enough. Honorable Okasai's way of communicating is a tool that we have been using. I mean, unless you have something wrong, it's very difficult to really jump on his head after he has made a communication. The man is so humble and is an elder. So to have both attributes. And he worked with me when I was a minister in agriculture, when he was a director in charge of crop. So we are working together. So when the president appointed him as my Minister of State, I knew that we were going to work together anyway. So I'm standing here to appreciate and to say that I know that you are in the constituency, that you are going to contest again. I just want to have a look at the person who is going to compete with you. Have a chat with him, really. Because you are mastering the sector, critical sector. And then somebody says, hello, vayo, get away. You know, sometimes this politics is funny, very funny. So I want to declare my support to you without fear or favor. Anyway, me, I'm not going to contest, so nobody can come and revenge on me. I'm not going to contest. I told you my constituency is Uganda, Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, where I will be, and I will be accessible, and I'll be moving with my team. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, the regulator. Thank you, UETCL, the people who sell this power in bulk to Umeme, now to Uedcl. Yes, you are now sons of the same mother. You share the same shareholders. I don't expect anything that will make you not work together. Even where you have conflicts, you'll be like Aboluganda. Those conflicts should not be injurious to our system, to our business. You are members of the same family. We will find a way of communicating to the staff who are not here. I want a system where the staff will be receiving messages from me, the minister, because what they are inheriting is not something to joke around with. I have to keep communicating to them, reminding them that when you do well, you've secured your tenure. Minus that, I have no relationship with you. If you are not delivering, no relationship with you, you will go. There are many Ugandans out there who are crying that Uedcl has not taken them on. They are crying. But there is no way Uedcl would have taken everybody. This is not a merger of Umeme and UEDCL. It's not a merger. It's a transition which is likely to leave some people out. And so there are those people who are out, 191, whom we have not taken on. But we know them, that they are there. They are on our special list. If there is any need, somebody sleeping on job, I can assure you, we will not tolerate you. You will go home. And this contract is tagged to the merger. If the merger of the three companies comes in 1 year, your contract stops there. But it doesn't mean that you have no chance. If you've been performing, we merge with you. We take you on. If not been performing, we say, hey, this one, let us drop this one. Because you are many. So your contracts are tagged on the merger or beyond. But I'll have to make sure that this merger appears when we are ready. I'll not accept to be forced to merge. I'll be doing a disservice to this country. This I've been telling the cabinet, I've been telling the Minister of Public Service. This ministry is going through major reforms, critical reforms. Before Uedcl sits in and, sits on his chair, you want me to bring in Karamaji, to merge Uedcl with Karamaji and Mutikanga, those ones you don't know what they come up with. Uedcl, Karamaji, Mutikanga, okay? So this, I am standing here to really assure the country that the policy to merge is good. It comes with advantages and disadvantages. It comes with a cost where you'll be forced to pay or compensate. But the summation of all that, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages, because the savings that were calculated are far bigger than, those disadvantages that I have enumerated. But for this critical sector, the regulator calls it live service. It's like you are handling people's lives, in your hands. It is a live network. It is off. The repercussions are bigger. I have been pleading that we grow the merger. We don't rush, we grow the merger until such a time when new systems are in place, technology, ICT, in place, and then you say we are good to go. We have fully gone on to the network. I will continue pursuing this. So I will be going to cabinet after this function, and I want to say that I was surprised the function became bigger. PS, you didn't tip me. I thought it was going to be a small thing, Patrick, but it is big this early morning of Monday. Thank you so much for turning up. It has been a short notice because we wanted to do it before midnight of 31st. And for us now, internal, we had planned to sit here at midnight and see. I don't know whether that plan is still there. It's on. We are going to be in the room on the SCADA to witness. For the first time in my life, I'm going to witness this. So my team, small team that has been invited, we shall still be here and receive the Mogole together. But this one was big thing. Dr. Litho, Patricia, and your team, thank you so much. You've surprised me. I think it was befitting even to put it live coverage. UBC, I know that I've communicated to the people of Kumi and also the people of Chigoga as well. And the entire, because UBC goes to those rural areas. So thank you for this arrangement. We've used it very well to communicate. The communication from Umeme, which I'm sure some people had not known the load that Umeme had been carrying, the preparedness, the fact that the PS introduced our advisor on this transition, who are not black like me. Can you please stand up for further recognition? Our advisors that have advised me during this transition. So we have not been working alone. We've tried to make sure that we involve many stakeholders. So with these few words, I would like to end here, thanking you so much, and invite our regulator to come and do the statutory duty of announcing the new tariffs. The CEO, the CEO gave a background. So Sarah, please stick to the announcement of the tariffs and what it means in the respective categories. Thank you so much. We will be told what next, how we are going to do it. Thank you very much.
What a great day. Our chief guest, the Honorable Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, the members of Parliament present, my State Minister for Energy, the PS, my colleagues, the board chairpersons in the sector, the representative of the Auditor General, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. With a profound sense of duty and responsibility, we gather here this afternoon, to mark a significant milestone in the evolution of Uganda's electricity supply industry. And I want to extend my heartfelt congratulations to Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, who will be taking over the mandate to manage the distribution network effective midnight tonight. I'll also extend my sincere appreciation to Umeme Limited for the dedicated service rendered to this country over the past 20 years. The statistics illustrate where we began the journey from, and the progress achieved to date indicate that government took a prudent decision to bring Umeme on board. Thank you. Your contribution has laid a strong foundation for the continued development of the sector. Thank you very much, Umeme. In that same spirit of continuity and progress, I'm honored, in line with the Electricity Act, to announce that the Electricity Regulatory Authority has approved the electricity end user tariffs to be charged by UEDCL for the supply of electricity during the period April to June 2025, effective midnight tonight. In arriving at the end user tariffs, I'm going to announce what the authority considered and the major assumptions. One, demand. We expect the demand to grow at an annual rate of 10.4% in 2025. The second assumption is that Umeme Limited license for distribution and supply of electricity and the concession agreement expires by midnight today. The third assumption is that the quarterly tariff adjustment methodology implemented by the authority since 2014 and the subsequent years, which adjusts the annual base tariff for changes in inflation, exchange rate, international fuel prices, and other costs approved by the Electricity Regulatory Authority, will continue to be implemented in the year 2025. 4, the Uganda shilling has appreciated against the United States dollar of shillings 3,689.10 used in determining the retail tariff for the first quarter of this year to now shillings 3,679.73 as of February 2028, as published by the Bank of Uganda. This represents an appreciation of the shilling of 0.25%. Assumption 5 is that UEDCL tariff performance targets for 2025 following the license for sale and distribution of electricity issued to them will continue to hold. 6, we shall continue to review the implementation of the public amenities customer category. The public amenities customer category includes street lighting, hospitals, and cooking for. 7, we shall continue to review the composition of the medium and large industrial customer categories to provide separate customer categories for electricity consumers involved in manufacturing compared to those who are providing services. The next assumption is that we shall continue the implementation of measures to reduce the electricity end user tariff for manufacturers pegged on predetermined demand growth targets for the year 2025. Next is that we shall continue the implementation of the declining block tariff structure for large industrial manufacturing customers for the tariff year 2025. There will be cessation of the declining block tariff structure for the extra large industrial customer category effective midnight tonight. There will be continued implementation of the domestic cooking tariff of Uganda shillings 412 per unit to encourage domestic consumers to cook using electricity between the 81st and the 150th unit of electricity consumed monthly. Now, following a thorough review of the application along with the public feedback received during the publication period and the public hearing that was held, the authority has approved the following end user tariffs. 1, lifeline tariff will be shillings 250 per unit for qualifying domestic customers. These are customers who will consume up to only 100 units. So beyond 100, you don't qualify for lifeline tariffs. 2 is domestic tariff. This is now the cost-reflective tariff. It will be 756 shillings and 2 cents per unit for other domestic consumers beyond the first 15 units. Now, we have the commercial tariff. This will be 546 shillings and 4 cents per unit. Medium industrial tariff will be 355 shillings and 1 cent per unit. The service will be shillings. The public service will be, the amenities will be, no, for manufacturing. Then for the service under manufacturing will be 412 shillings and 5 cents per unit. The large industrial customer tariffs. Block 1 will be shillings 304 cents per unit. Block 2, which is a declining block tariff, will be shillings 282 and 9 cents per unit. The large consumer tariffs, the services will be 348 shillings and 7 cents. The extra large industrial tariff will be shillings 203 and 6 cents per unit. The public amenities tariff, the hospitals, the cooking and so on, the universities, will be shillings 360 per unit. Now, all other charges remain unchanged. The connection charges and all those others will remain unchanged. A detailed tariff table has been provided at the end of this statement for further appreciation, and the UEDCL will be required to publish this effective midnight tonight. Honorable Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Electricity Regulatory Authority remains committed to ensuring the continuity of electricity supply and fostering a sustainable and self-sufficient electricity subsector that supports Uganda's vision for total socio-economic transformation. I take this opportunity to thank my Honorable Minister of Energy and Mineral Development and her colleagues, the state ministers, and the entire technical team of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, headed by the Permanent Secretary, the sector players and electricity customers for the continued support that has enabled us to perform our delegated mandate. Finally, through you, Honorable Minister, allow me to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, for always prioritizing the energy sector and giving us excellent support that we receive at the various levels of decision making. For God and my country, I submit. Thank you.